Movement, Minister of Works and Transport, Senator the Honorable Rohan Sinanan. Ministers of Cabinet, Members of Parliament, other representatives from the Tobago House of Assembly this evening with us. We have Ms. Denise Sawyer-Fat. Give her a round of applause. Local campaign manager for Toko Sangre Grande, Mr. Indar Parishram and his team. Candidate for Kumoto Tamana, Mr. Rajkumar Bagalu. Chairman of the PNM Toko Sangre Grande Constituency Executive, Mrs. Jillian Amoroso Edwards. Our own Chairman of the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation, Mr. Martin Terry Rondon. Members of the PNM Toko Sangre Grande Constituency Executive and other members, members of the media, friends, well-wishers, ladies and gentlemen of the PNM family, good night. Toko Sangre Grande and Kumoto Manzanella, let me hear you. This mammoth crowd this evening is a serious and major indication that the People's National Movement is going to be victorious on December the 2nd at the local government polls. I stand here proud as the Member of Parliament for Toko Sangre Grande to say thank you to the outgoing members of council. I admit the road was long, rocky, and hard as we had to band together during the hard times. But we stood side by side to ensure this regional corporation, under the stewardship of the infallible Martin Terry Rondon, has delivered and gotten the job done for you. I also want to welcome in a special way the new candidates and standard bearers of the People's National Movement who have raised their hands up to serve you. And very soon, they will be the councillors of the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation, all 8 of them. Give them a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, PNM family, PNM family, this great institution has become such an integral part of our landscape. Your PNM government, led by our leader, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, understood very clearly the path to progress and opportunities. His vision was to ensure that the rural parts of East Trinidad, that is us, become the centers of economic activity, linking tourism and business and giving us the tools for financial freedom. Tonight, I am happy, so happy to see the diversity of races, colors, creed, and ages here before me. This is what the PNM has stood for since 1956, when our father of the nation, the Honorable Eric Williams, said that when we gather as one to serve many, I come from a proud PNM family from right here in Sangre Grande, where my mother, Rita Jennings, a former councillor and the first woman to be a chairman of a county council, served tirelessly. She served tirelessly for the development of all, from Toko all the way to Kumotu. Ladies and gentlemen, in these parts, together, families from Matlat to Matura, from Sanssouci to Sangre Grande, from Kumana to Kumotu, celebrate our individual differences, and we have embraced our interconnectedness of our region, which has made us a great community. And that is what marks us out as a great people. You know, people as often say, "How you're so calm, you're so sweet and loving." I tell them, I from Grande people only know love. Grande people, you agree? Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, one of the hallmarks of the PNM over the years is its inclusiveness. The doors of the People's National Movement have always remained open for all who wish to enter and to be part of the general political party this country has ever seen. And unlike other political parties, we do not do things for PNM people alone. We do things that will benefit everyone. We do things that will benefit everyone because we operate with one single philosophy. If it's good for the PNM, it's good for the country. This is the PNM mantra. And ladies and gentlemen, to open the baton for us this evening is a man whose name, ladies and gentlemen, let me pause to introduce our beloved Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
What good for Grande, good for country. Grande, Grande. What good for Grande, good for country. Grande, Grande. What good for Grande, good for country. Team Rowley, we building legacy. What good for country, good for Grande. Team Rowley, we building legacy. What good for Grande, good for country. Team Rowley, we building legacy. What good for country, good for Grande. Team Rowley, we building legacy. What good for Grande, good for country. Team Rowley, we building legacy. What good for country, good for Grande. Team Rowley, we building legacy. What good for Grande, good for country. Team Rowley, we building legacy. What good for country, good for Grande. Team Rowley, we building legacy. So when you're voting, know that you're building a strong foundation for this great nation. This is a nation of many races.
Ladies and gentlemen, our Prime Minister is in the house. Let us give him a love. Sangre Grande love. Komoto, Manzanella love. Our Prime Minister, our beloved Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, to open the baton for this evening is a man whose name has become synonymous with good representation. In fact, I am almost certain if you open the dictionary in search of a definition for good political representation, the name Martin Terry Rondon will be there. Terry has represented the constituency of Toko for as long as I can remember. He continued to demonstrate his leadership over the last 3 years as chairman of the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation. And come next Monday, the 2nd of December, with your vote, he will be returned as the councillor for Valencia. He will be returned as the councillor for Valencia East Toko. Ladies and gentlemen, my PNM family from Grande up to Port of Spain who are visiting with us, but my PNM family from Toko, Sangre Grande, and Kumoto, Manzanilla, gathered in your thousands here this evening. Put your hands together and give a warm welcome to Councillor and Chairman Martin Terry Rondon.
One day at a time. PNM family, I ask us here tonight that we stand and observe 1 minute silence for a young man who had made valid contribution to Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Wayne Chance. May his soul rest in peace, but remain standing and hug each other and say welcome to the PNM. Thank you. Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Honorable Rohan Sinanan and his wife, nice to see you here, ma'am, and his wife. We just give them a round of applause, man. Grande people. Attorney General Mr. Paris Al-Rairi, my good friend Ms. Dolly, who is always in Sangre Grande. We are looking for a new home for her very soon. Thank you for coming. Deputy Political Leader John Yule Williams, thank you for coming. The Honorable Dennis Moses, Minister of Foreign Affairs, thank you for coming, brother. Another gentleman who always takes time to come to Sangre Grande, Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Brother Clarence Ramdara. We have our friend, and I must say, she tests out the waters for the port in Toko, our good friend from Tobago. She's here, she came by boat to Toko, and she's here with us. Welcome, Mr. Yafat. My good friend and colleague, Chairman of the Southern Laventille Regional Corporation, Anthony Robert. my other good friend, Deputy Speaker of the Senate, Vice President, of the Senate, Mr. De Freitas and Mr. De Freitas. Candidate, Mr. Bagaloo, who is going to return his seat. Let me recognize councillors. There are candidates now, but I'm positive in the next 4 days there will be councillors. And I start with my very own vice chair, and I ask you when I call them, stand, let us see who are these candidates and who you're voting for. Vice Chairman Simone Gill. Young and dynamic Paul Mongolas. The candidate that is making wave in Grande, Elizabeth Wharton. A young man, I'm sure, will take Sangre Grande South, Neil Joseph. And I can tell you, with prayers, Bishop Safe is going to take Grande.
For country, Grande, Grande, what good for Grande?
And
Good for country.
Ravi Lakan going to beat Angel Jutram.
Good for Grande, good for country. Team Rowley, we building legacy. What good for
And you, PNM family, you have turned out in your large numbers. It shows that PNM is alive and kicking, Dr. Rowley, in Toko, Sangre Grande, Komoto, Magdalena. I take this opportunity to welcome each and every one of you to Sangre Grande, PNM town. Folks, the PNM family is strong in this area because you know why? You know why? The service we provide at the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation. We welcome you all here tonight to a conversation. It's about PNM and what we have to offer. Tonight I urge you all to listen carefully to what the different speakers have to say. We are about people business, you know. And the people's business alone. We have no time for old talk. But our time is spent on performance. So folks, on December the 2nd, vote for Ravi Lakan. We ask you to vote for Simone Gill. Vote for Elizabeth Wharton. Vote for Neil Joseph. Vote for Rajkumar Bagaloo. Vote for Nigel Safe. And ram your X for Terry Rondon.
Grande, good Grande, what good for Grande?
And vote for Paul Mongolas. Put your X by the back.
What good for Grande, good for
Don't,
country.
he's the baby in the team, he have to be last. Let me leave you with this. With the help of the Almighty God and PNM, we will be standing by to provide a standard of living for each one. We'll be standing by to provide a better standard of living for each and every one of you. DJ.
That God is standing by. Hold on, yeah. When you have heartaches, don't cry.
Don't cry.
Oh no. Just remember
That the PNM is standing
that
by.
God is standing by. Sometime when you're burdenless, don't just remember.
God. Folks, I thank you all. We depend on you all for your support. Come the 2nd of December, vote for PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. And we shall be.
Thank you, Chairman Martin Terry Rondon. And as he said, if God is for you, no one can be against you. But my PNM people, the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation have been delivering. And they have been delivering, especially in the area of squatter regularization and infrastructure developments in many of our areas within the boundaries of Toco Sangre Grande and the Kumoto Manzanilla. And I can tell you that 500 lots were regularized in Guabande. Who from Guabande here tonight? In Picton, 90 lots were upgraded. In Pine Settlement, 384 lots. And I can go on and on about our performance, PNM performance. Ladies and gentlemen, you talk about performance, we are getting the job done. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, I have to mention a particular minister at this point in time, and his name is Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Lands and Fishery, Mr. Clarence Rambarat, and he happens to be the candidate for Shagona Seas. Everybody give him a big up from Sangre Grande. And the reason why I have to talk about him tonight is that he has been resident with us from the first day we started our campaign machinery in this area. And more than that, I want to quote from a piece of his introduction he made about our next speaker. Very interesting. He said, the other night, I was speaking on the platform in Guayco with Bagaloo. And since Bagaloo come in the PNM, the man can't stop bouncing. He by the platform bouncing. And you know, he fell short in 2016 by 200 votes. And the Minister of Agriculture is saying, and I told them in Sangre Grande, it must be easy to find those votes. But what he didn't say is he tell you all to stop whining down. And after December the 2nd, when you go to your neighbors, when you go to your auntie and your nanan, your bygone, and we win that seat, then you could wind down. Because we have to bring home the district of Kumoto Tamana. We have to bring Bagaloo home to the PNM, the People's National Movement. So ladies and gentlemen, who is Mr. Bagaloo? Mr. Rajkumar Bagaloo is a former student of Northeastern College. He is the holder of a diploma in industrial relations from Cipriani Labor College. He's a graduate of MIC. He's the president of the Kunaripo Village Council. He's the president of the Kunaripo Sports Club. He's the president of the Scoring Machine All Force Club. He's the president of the Kunaripo Farmers Association. He's the president of the Kunaripo Dharmic Sabha. He's a cricket coach, a cricket umpire. He's a total man. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring on Mr. Rajkumar Bagalu.
Yeah, we ready. 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 We're ready. We're ready. Yeah, we're ready. 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 Look how the sun now raising up, and the crowd now waking up. The atmosphere have vibes, and nothing can break it up. The girl them a wine non-stop. We are the drinks them in a my cup. We gonna party all night, all night. 24 parties we hit in a row. Tonight at the very last show.
Look at PNM people! Look at PNM people! And this is a local crowd. No imported crowd here tonight. The Honorable Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Attorney General of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Faris Al-Rawi, our own very son of the soil, Senator the Honorable Rohan Sinanan and Mrs. Sinanan, Minister of Works and Transport, our own Chairman for tonight's proceeding, the Honorable Glenda Jennings-Smith, our own man of the people, Martin Terry Rodnan, Chairman, all cabinet ministers, all you people from Toko Sangre Grande and Komoto Manzanilla who are here, let me hear it, a very special good night. And first of all, I want to thank God for granting me the privilege to be of service to my community, my people, and my country. I also want to thank my Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, for reposing his confidence in me and putting me back as candidate for Kumoto Tamana. And I want to give him the assurance tonight, Kumoto Tamana, God be them. I also want to tell him that I have a belated birthday gift for him when I bring home Kumoto Tamana. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to acknowledge the work of some people, and I really want to thank them. And I want you to give them a rousing round of applause. Mr. Indar Parashram and his team, his campaign team. Give them a special round of applause. They have been working assiduously, relentlessly, to ensure that all our candidates here are victorious come Monday, 2nd December. I stand here proud as a member of the People's National Movement, the most organized, stable, and disciplined party in Trinidad and Tobago, and I dare say in the Western Hemisphere, with the most humble and astute political leader, the Honorable Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. And as I told you the other night, since I have joined the PNM, I have grown. I have grown. You know, I went to have my ID card changed. And I was measuring 165 centimeters. After the new ID card came in my possession, it was measuring 165.5 centimeters. And I am telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it will continue to grow because I'm here to stay. And you know what my wife telling me? My wife telling me, she said, boy, I don't know why you didn't join the PNM long before now. I said, baby, don't be afraid. You are going to have a taller man in your life. Ladies and gentlemen, the Horticultural Society, I want to show you how this PNM party is so important, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but throughout the world. The Horticultural Society of Trinidad and Tobago participated in a major floral competition in the United Kingdom. And that floral arrangement that won that major prize for the Horticultural Society of Trinidad and Tobago, they planted the flower in that arrangement that was most conspicuous was the balisier. So you see, we are not only local or regional, but the PNM gone international. And I am saying that we should all feel proud of our Prime Minister, a man who is an epitome of humility and simplicity. And I want to tell you, and the reason why I'm saying this, he demonstrated these qualities quite recently right here in Sangre Grande. And let me tell you, in the month of September, Pandit Dunat Rampasad and his group, they were celebrating the Ganesh Utsav, which is the Ganesh festival. It was the 29th year. Other prime ministers and opposition leaders were invited before. None accepted. At a relatively short notice, our prime minister was invited and he was there. He was there in that celebration. Our prime minister, together with the Honorable Rohan Sinanan, they were honored. And the Pandit has promised that Minister Stuart Young will be honored next year. So, ladies and gentlemen, when the opposition leader want to come and make all kind of disparaging remarks about my political leader, I have to take offense for that. You cannot come and talk about my leader, a man of quality, a man of standard, and you come in to make all kind of disparaging remarks about him. I take offense. Because last evening, she came here to Sangre Grande, and she said, Bagelu is a reject, Ravi Lakan is a reject, Nirmal Singh is a reject. They got A, they got B class, they got C class. That is what she was saying. They jumped ship. But I want to tell you, the stench that was emanating from that ship was unbearable. a ship that was filled only with rats and cockroaches, flies and mosquitoes, sucking and eating everything. With a leader, a captain, steering a rudderless ship, floundering in the open ocean. And most time, that captain was in a state of inebriation. Our Prime Minister, we are now in a ship where the aroma is so sweet. And we have a captain who knows how to steer and read his compass. And he is a man that will bring us safely to land. Ladies and gentlemen, I also want to tell you, she has a habit to say that this PNM government is the most corrupt in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. But I want to tell you, I just want to give you a little scene about that PNM, that UNC government. What could say PNM there, boy? Let me drink some water for that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you all know that the late Prime Minister Patrick Manning created the CPEP company to clean the environment. And that Munilal, who has no shame, he want to come to talk about corruption. He changed the regulation of the company to now undertake construction. And 2 months before the election in 2015, he hired 16 contractors in what he called the health sector initiative. 16 contractors. And ladies and gentlemen, when they say they complete the task and they put forward what they claim, $160 million, somehow they were able to pay $13 million. Don't know where they got the money. But they left $147 million for my government, this PNM government, to pay. But I want to show you something. One of the contractors, who it is said, the former Prime Minister had a very close affiliation. His claim in that health sector initiative was $53 million. The CPEP company decided they are not going to pay this kind of money. And I am saying this because when the management of CPEP went before the Joint Select Committee of Parliament, Wade Mark made people to believe that PNM was responsible for that money and those contracts. So I need to let you know, that man who was claiming the $53 million, CPEP hired a quantity surveyor to do some work. And the man who was claiming the $53 million, that was reduced to $14 million by the quantity surveyor. Another contractor who was claiming $26.1 million, that was reduced to $8 million. Another one who claiming $2.6 million, his was reduced to $800,000. But the greatest of all, a man come claiming $3 million. Listen to this, you know. A contract was not even given to him, you know. The contract was given to him, but he didn't sign any contract. The contract was signed after the contract was given to him. And you know, that man didn't drive a nail in a piece of wood, and he is claiming $3 million. So when the quantity surveyor was finished with what he had to do, he saved this government over $100 million. And that is the kind of thing we were facing all the time under that UNC government. And Kamla Prasad and Rudal Munilal, them people want to come to talk about corruption. But here the best part. They had 6 mooring contractors. To qualify as a mooring contractor, you must have a boat. One of the contractors had no boat, and he was given a contract. You know what that man managed, those contractors, what their management fee was? $250,000 a month. And whilst our contractors in CPEP now, you must have 10 to a team. You know, they didn't say exactly how much they should have on the team. So that man from Moruga who always ringing bell, anyway, camera is the ghost behind him, you know. All them ghosts behind him. Honorable Prime Minister, I want to tell you, though we have more to tell you now, but Honorable Prime Minister, you made us all proud when you mounted that platform of the United Nations General Assembly, and you delivered with style and flair. Your eloquence, your diction, your style of delivery were beyond comparison. You touched on every subject affecting the people of this world. Global warming, rising sea levels, the Venezuelan issue, and all other topics of importance that was affecting this world. Mr. Prime Minister, we are indeed very, very proud of you. I must say, Mr. Prime Minister, you're shown as a beacon on that day. We saw you as a man with an impeccable deportment and an immaculate disposition. Qualities that are worthy of emulation. You are a beacon of hope for this nation, Honorable Prime Minister. As we walk the streets, persons have been saying that this PNM government has done nothing for people. I have to remind them that it is this government of Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley in the last budget increased minimum wage from $15 to $17.50. CPEP and URP workers received a 15% wage increase. And to go further, $5.1 billion was allocated to social welfare. 10%, that is 10% of the national budget. $1.6 billion has been allocated to the Senior Citizens Grant. And $565 million has been allocated to 24,700 persons as disability grant. What you want more than that? And for the poor people, the small man, you need help to repair your house. We have the National Self-Help Commission. We have the HDC and other government agencies. They assist with grants to repair and build houses. With all to benefit the poor, you are saying that this government doesn't care about small people. Ladies and gentlemen, this government of Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley knows that this region, this eastern region, is the poorest. 39.1% of the population lives below the poverty line. This government is now constructing the Kumuto to Manzanilla Highway, the Valencia to Toko Highway, the Toko Port, new hospital, new licensing office. And what it means is that new jobs will be created, new job opportunities. It all means a better quality of life for citizens in this area. New hotels and guest houses, new breakfast sheds, supermarkets, groceries, taxi service, jobs at the port. hospital, licensing office, and other related industries will reduce unemployment significantly. This area, just spare me 1 minute, madam. This area is mainly agricultural. And with the removal of all taxes on agricultural machinery and products, farmers will be able to invest and produce at a cheaper cost. But ladies and gentlemen, the speaker, the chairman is calling on me then. But I want to tell you, Kamala say that I am a reject. But the Bible say, the stone that the builder reject shall become the head cornerstone. And come December the 2nd, Mr. Prime Minister, it is signed, it is sealed, and at 8 p.m. Monday the 2nd, it will be delivered at Balisier House. Long live the PNM! Long live the PNM! Great is the PNM! And we shall always prevail. I thank you, ladies and
Ready, 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 we're ready, we're ready, yeah, we're ready, 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 ready.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
The sun now raising up, and the crowd now waking
Now,
up.
Mr. Bagadoo had a relationship with the UNC and the leader of the UNC. And he is in a position to compare and contrast, to know that Kamala was and is still a disaster. And she is nothing compared to my leader, Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley. So I say to Kamala and her other girlfriend, who came here in a long wig in Sangre Grande, rock show, rock show, rock show. I said thank you to my sister colleague in the parliament. You know, she took claim to that word. Our Minister of Community Development and Youth, Dr. Nayan Gasvidali. Rock show, tell her to rock show. Ladies and gentlemen, 4 years ago, our Prime Minister made a promise to all of us in this Northeast area that we would see a level of development unprecedented in history. And ladies and gentlemen, our Prime Minister is a Prime Minister that not only speaks, he delivers, and he keeps his promises. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting the job done. Look for yourself in Sangre Grande, up to Toko, and even Kumana, from Guayco into Manzanilla. The evidence is here. The new licensing office just opened in Guayco. The new 100-bed hospital. Valencia Toko Enhanced Roadway. Ladies and gentlemen, not even when the UNC was in the height of its tenure, with money flowing like water, did they dream of doing anything like this for the people of Toko, Sangre Grande, and Kumana, and Kumoto, Manzanilla. They never thought about that. And I want to tell you now, we have been delivering. But to tell you about these projects, I have to welcome to this podium a son of the soil, no stranger to Sangre Grande, a business entrepreneur who is well known in Sangre Grande as our son. He is our deputy political leader. He is our campaign manager. He is a dedicated, resilient, and hard-working Minister of Works and Transport. He is Senator, the Honorable Rohan
What good for
Senanan.
Grande, good for country.
He is the man.
Grande, what good for Grande?
He is
good
the
for
man
country.
charged with the responsibility of changing the eastern counties for all of us in Toko, Sangre, Grande, and Komoto, Manzanella. Let us stand and welcome him with love from Sangre, Grande, Komoto, Matlas, Kumana, Waiko, Damri Hill, Valencia. Let us stand and welcome our own,
What good for Grande,
Honorable
good for country.
Rohan
Team
Senanan.
Rowley, we building legacy. What good for country, good for Grande. Team Rowley, we building legacy. What good for Grande, good for country. Team Rowley, we building legacy. What good for country, good for Grande.
You all agree with that? What good for country, good for Grande? You all don't think it's time what good for country, good for Grande? Well, we are getting it done for Grande. Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, the Attorney General, and I must say, welcome to Sangre Grande, all the way from San Fernando, Mr. Faris Alwari, Mr. Terry Randan, Chairman of the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation, Mr. Rajkumar Baghelu. Okay? And of course, our Member of Parliament and a daughter of the sun, the soil, Glenda Jennings Smith. All my cabinet colleagues here, senators. And I saw we have representatives from the Sangre Grande Chamber as well. We have, my God, the entire East Coast is here tonight. And I say to the PNM family, I think tonight, the opposition leader probably figured out what was going to happen here. And that is why she decided not to come to Sangre Grande on Saturday again. Tonight, I had no intentions of taking on the UNC because my presentation tonight was all about what we are doing for the people and how we are getting it done. However, I don't want to say a drunken lady, although they said she probably thought the bill Faris was piloting was already passed. A lady in yellow came to Sangre Grande a couple days ago. Had nothing to tell the people, nothing at all to tell the people about what she ever did for the Eastern Seaboard or what she planned to do. But felt that she had to drop 2 bombs in Sangre Grande. And the 2 bombs were on Senator Rohan Senanan. I had to look at this lady in pity. I don't want to get angry with the lady because the lady could be my mom. I'm talking about the age, just the age. My mom don't drink. My mom don't drink, just the age. So I thought to myself, why get angry with somebody like that? But then I said, if you allow her to get away with something like that, then it creates that doubt in the mind of the population. So I decided tonight to address Kamala Prasad Bisesa, take her own senior counsel SC. That's why she's senior counsel by take. I decided tonight to correct the records because she told the Sangre Grande crowd that when Rohan come around, you must ask him certain questions. Well, I didn't wait to come around. I decided to come on a platform back in Sangre Grande and answer Kamala Prasad Bisesa. Because I have nothing to hide and I could explain every single thing that I have declared on my Integrity Commission form. Unlike a lot of the members of the last government, they don't know what is on their form because what they own is on other people's name. It is alleged that it's on other people's name. Everything Rohan Senanan owns It's declared on his integrity form. And you could go, just like she did, to the Legal Affairs Office, and you could pull up everything. So she dropped this big bombshell a couple days ago about Rohan Sinanan thieving a bridge in Grande and putting it on his land. All you remember, all you must have heard about that. Oh, look the bridge right there. Look the bridge. I stole a bridge and put it on my land, so the government will pay me for the bridge and pay me for diverting the river. This lady have to be mad. That bridge is on the government road. It is still on the government road, and it is not in my land. So let me start with that. The second thing I want to start with is, when we decided to do the bridge, and the technical people decided, but first, before I go there, let me put it on the records that she was correct. I bought that land in 2008, 2009. Long before I was a deputy leader of the PNM, long before the PNM was in government. At 2009, the UNC was planning how to thief out the treasury. So while they were planning how to thief out the treasury, I was in my personal business. So let me put that on the record. Then she said that I divert a river so that the government will pay me. I mean, I had to be the biggest fool in the world to divert a river into my land. People divert rivers away from the land, but it's so the lady doesn't. I mean, I am sorry for the senior councils in Trinidad and Tobago, you know, because when Ms. Bissessa could boast that I am senior council Kamala Prasad Bissessa, I started to say, better I look for junior council, you know. Serious. The lady just brought down the salary of senior council. She alleged that I moved this river into the land, and she wanted me to explain that. Well, and that was supposed to be a big mark. Ladies and gentlemen, I have nothing to hide. And let me just read something for you. In 2018, she busted a mark this week, 2019, and think it's a mark, 2019, November. 27th of June, 2018. And this is a letter that I, Rohan Sinanan, wrote to the Integrity Commission. One of the bridge schedule, and it's addressed to the Register of the Integrity Commission. One of the bridge schedule for reconstruction work in phase 2 of this project, located in the Konapo Southern Main Road, Komoto Manzalina, the design consultant noted that the existing river channel was poorly aligned and resulted in flooding and erosion occurring on the northeastern side of the bridge. To alleviate the problem, the option of constructing a new bridge south of the existing one was selected. And it goes on to say, the option will solve the poor drainage issues required, and it will require some acquisition of private lands. The details of the lands to be acquired for this bridge as followed. And then it earmarked some pieces of land all the way up, not my land alone, several pieces of land to be acquired to straighten the river to avoid the flooding in Sangre Grande. Now this is June 2018, so she now come to bust the mark. In June 2018, I wrote the Integrity Commission, and the letter continues. As Minister of Works and Transport in the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and also having NIDCO, wholly owned state enterprise, placed under my ministerial responsibility, and also being aware that I am a person in public life for the purpose of the Integrity in Public Life Act, Chapter 2201, I am duty-bound to disclose my personal interest in these matters to the Integrity Commission. In other words, I wrote the Integrity Commission in 2018. Now, she now come to Bosamak in 2019, November. I would be indeed grateful for your urgent guidance before signing the attached license agreement for the purpose mentioned above. I will be particularly grateful if you can indicate to me whether the intended signing of the attached license agreement will be in any way conflict with my duty under the Integrity in Public Life Act, or in any way constitute a breach of any of the provisions of the said act. I wrote the Integrity Commission. I got a response from the Integrity Commission dated July 4th, which they indicate they received my letter and they will respond in time. Now, what that letter indicated, when you're building a bridge on the main road, you have to divert the traffic. So the license that they had to sign with me was for use of the land on the side, which I own. I told the ministry, go ahead, do it. If you want, you're just using the land. He said, no, we have to pay. I said, well, I don't want no money. You're using the land. But the Integrity Commission, the lawyers advised that we have to do a lease. We have to rent the land from you. So I said, okay. That is what I wrote the Integrity Commission, indicating that I have to sign a lease with the government. The Ministry of Works, I'm the minister. I have the 3 lease here that they had to sign. You know what's the value of the lease? The value of the lease was $1. So she wanted to know how much money I got. Well, I told them $1. That's all I want. But what is significant is that the Ministry of Works, we get things done. While we wait for the Integrity Commission, the ministry went in, build the bridge, move out, give me back the piece of land, and I still ain't get my $1 yet. So tonight I asked Kamala, should I really go for that $1? The answer is no. There's a piece of land that the state will acquire to straighten the river, to alleviate the flooding. And that is not only from Rohanson, and that's for everybody along the riverbed. And that will be paid for by the Commissioner of Valuation under the Ministry of Finance. And that process have not completed or anything like that. And I want to tell Kamala Persad-Bissessar something tonight. Not all East Indian in politics are thieves. All right? We do have honest East Indian people who can act as ministers in this country. Most of them will be found in the PNM, unfortunately. On the other side, I want to see how much of them could stand up on a platform and say that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me go to the next bombshell. And by the way, see that box in front of you there? That is what $1 million look like if you put it in a Carib case. That is $1 million. It fills a Carib case, $1 million. On that bridge, we saved $2 million. So on that bridge, what is $2 million there for? On that bridge alone, we saved $2 million. That amount of money if you pile it up in $100 bills. Right? And that $2 million, they're complaining about we paving road all over the place in Grande. That $2 million went to pave the road. That $2 million. Right? Let me talk to Ms. Bissessar again about the next bombshell. She spoke about the Curab interchange. Right? She spoke about the Curab interchange and how the minister built an interchange so that they could pay him how much million? Oh, she said 150 million. Didn't say that on that night, but on 3 occasions. One day she said the minister got 150 million for the land. The next day, the next day, the minister got 130 million. The next day, the minister got 125 million. And she have proof. Well, I tell Kamala Persad-Bissessar, if you have proof, bring it. If not, you are Kamalaya. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the truth about the Curab interchange? In 2013, under Kamalaya, because if you have proof that I get 150 million, bring it. If you can't bring it, then you lie. So, Faris, good. I'm a lawyer in the back there. In 2013, under Kamala Persad-Bissessar, the owners of Valsen Resort got notice that the state is going to compulsory acquire 36 properties in Curab. 2013. The Kedona was one of them. Why? Because the UNC government wanted to build an interchange. So they served notices to everybody, including the Valsain Resorts, where I do have an interest. Several people own the property, and I am one of them. They decide that they're going ahead with this interchange. By 2015, they tendered it out. 2 ministers started to fight. They had a budget of 545 million or 541 million. Right? That was supposed to be for land and contract. They got a bid for 500 million. They are about to award. Until 2 ministers started to fight. Because 2 ministers had 2 horses. Both of them promised their horse, they're going to win, they get in it. That ended up in the court. 1 minister get fired because they say you mustn't spring on your cabinet colleagues. I mean, it have enough to go wrong. It have enough to go wrong. The project was stopped. They couldn't award because 1 contractor went to court. We came into power. What we did, on the guidance of the Prime Minister, because he was on, we have to get value for money. We went back to court matter finished. We decided we're going to retender the project. The same project. Same project. We went to Cabinet. Cabinet gave us a budget. What that was about close to $300 million less than what they were going to go. We went out for tender and we were able to award the project, a little more than what they were doing because we added 2 roads. The one to take you up to UE and one, I think, taking you back to Val Park. We had 2 roads to the project. Same project on the same land that they said this minister want to build interchange on. They served the notice, you know. In 2013, we went back out for tender and we were able to award that contract for almost $300 million less. Now, I want the population to understand what is $300 million. You see that? That is $2 million there. You see that little pile you see in there? That is $10 million. If you pack $100 bills, that's how it will be. How much all you? How much all you could have this amount of $100 bills? Any all you ever work for that amount of 100? Think about the 10 million. How much all you could have 10 million in $100 bill like that? Remember a fella, the live sport? Remember live sport? Remember a fella went away with $30 million and he said, 34 million. 34 million, and he said, I'm not paying back none because they were supposed to do certain things and they didn't do it. Well, he get 3.5 of that to do nothing. That 10 million there, he got 34 million, and that is only 10. So 3 of that. That money all the way so. In the Curep interchange, you know how much is $300 million? You see, when we talk these figures, it goes through one ear. But if you could see $300 million, you'll understand the level of thieving that went on in this country. How long that there?
Grande, Grande, what good for Grande? Good for country. Grande.
You know how much money is that? If you stack $100 bills,
good for country.
if you stack $100 bills, that is only 100 million. Multiply that by 3, and that is how much money Olia was losing if UNC had done the interchange. 3 times that amount. I tried to get the amount of Carib case in Grande. They didn't have enough Carib case to put the amount of money they was thieving in the whole of Grande. 3 times that is what on one project what they was paying. Since this government came in, the projects and the price that we reduced the price on is close to $1.9 billion. You know how much $1.9 billion in $100 is? It's enough to fill half of this tent here. All you can imagine how much money they have in cash all around this country, Barry. Or you can imagine that. If that is 2 million, that is 10, that is only 100 million. Right? And on one project, the Curep interchange, you could have filled this stage with money. That is the level of thieving that went on in this country. And then Kamala Prasad want to come and accuse me of getting $1 for a piece of land in Grande. Tell Kamala Prasad, I say, go to hell. Kamala Prasad Bisesa want to ask me about land. Well, I answer my question. I declare to the Integrity Commission. I go through the process. I buy my land before I went in government. I want to ask Kamala Prasad Bisesa tonight. I remember when Kamala Prasad Bisesa became Prime Minister. I remember before that, Mr. Warner had said, the house is not safe where she lives in. It's too small for the opposition leader. And he rented a house somewhere. Sorry, I have a picture to show that house tonight. When she won the election and she became Prime Minister, she went by Gopal and lived. All you remember that? Because the house she was living in wasn't fit for a Prime Minister. Right? Ladies and gentlemen, you see that mansion there? That was developed between 2010 and 2015 while she was Prime Minister. I am simply asking Kamala, just how I explain myself where I get my land before I came in government. You explain yours now. You just explain. Look at that. It's the first country in the world, the opposition leader house bigger than the Prime Minister house. And that lady want to ask me about a piece of land I have in coal mine? That lady out of place. Anyhow, I think I waste enough time on that lady tonight. Look at that. Look at that. When I ever dream, when the Prime Minister dream a house, to pack a helicopter and a Prado in the lawn and call that George. That's what was going on with all your money in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk about what I come here to talk about. That is just wasting my time. In 2015, I stood up with the Prime Minister right out in the junction, behind the gas station, the bus terminus. And when we stood in the rain on that Thursday, the same Thursday before the general election, because Grande is where the action is, you know. You have to close it in Grande. If you don't come for Grande, then something wrong. You have to come here the Thursday to get the vibe, because look what happened here tonight. The Prime Minister promised this country, and he promised the people on the Eastern Seaboard, that if you put us in government, Eastern Seaboard will finally find its place in this country. Because the Eastern Seaboard is responsible for almost 50% of the land mass, but responsible for 5% of the commerce, 5% of the businesses, or 3% of the businesses registered in Trinidad. Lowest income and highest unemployment. In other words, this was probably the most depressed part of Trinidad and Tobago. And the Prime Minister promised that he will fix that for the people of Toco Sangre Grande, Komoto Manzalina, Mayaro, Matlot, Salibe, Rampanalgas, Danbury Hill, Valencia, all the way, because we all make up the Eastern Seaboard. And how we went about doing that? Understand something. If you want to develop a country, put in infrastructure, build roads. Now we had to get a bigger screen to show Munilal House. That screen too small. We understand that you have to put in infrastructure. And that is why we set about to build 2 highways coming to Sangre Grande. We promise you that. You go to Valencia now, you will see 8 contractors building a highway from Valencia going all the way to Toco. You go to Komoto and you will see a contractor and a highway building from Komoto all the way to Sangre Grande. And next year, we will have the upgrade of the Manzalina Road going all the way to Mayaro. So, we recognize if you put in infrastructure, you could develop the area. But we went beyond that. Anybody know about Singapore? What changed Singapore was a port. A port. We had the Eastern Seaboard. If you build a port in an area, remember years ago you had a story about the capital of Trinidad was in St. Joseph, but the port was in Port of Spain, and cities that's built around a port. So you can imagine if we put a port in Toco, what is going to happen to the Eastern Seaboard? We have the benefit to have two ports on the Eastern Seaboard. We have the Galeota port, and this government is now going into phase 2 of the Galeota port. So we have highways, and we have two ports. Could you imagine the opportunities now for the people of the Eastern Seaboard? Cities are built around a port. Prime Minister had the vision to say, we will put the infrastructure, we will put the port, and we will develop the agro-industry on the Eastern Seaboard. And we didn't just talk. So tonight, I am reporting the highways started. The port, we are almost there to have a tender document drawn up to go out. We are working with the EMA right now. And once we get the approvals from the EMA, the designs have been completed. A lot of surveys have been done. And we are waiting now on the EMA to get the statutory approvals. Once that is in place, we go out for tender and the port will start. The Galeota port is now being evaluated for phase 2. This Eastern Seaboard is poised to take off. But more than that, what we decided to do is how do we bring the services? Because putting in 2 highways and 2 ports doesn't solve all our problems. So we decided to look at all the internal challenges that we have. We decided to look at all our bridges, how we could upgrade them. And as I speak now, we have about 8 bridges going on. She might come and ask me if I'll land by the 8 of them, you know. I'm waiting for she. We have upgrades of our roads. They were complaining that all we're building is highway and we are fixing the roads. Once we start to fix the road, they say it's election. So what do you want me to do? Fix it or don't fix it? Well, we promise you to fix it. And as long as I am Minister of Works and I get the permission from the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, I will fix all the roads in Sangre Grande. We went ahead to do the cleaning of all your water courses. So we're actually dealing with the local infrastructure while we concentrate on your highways. We're not just building highways and leaving you like that. Recently, we turned this sort of for a license office. Do you know if somebody from Matlot want to renew a driver's permit? It's to take 2 days because they'll come down to Sangre Grande. Some of them might spend the night in Sangre Grande. The next morning they get up, they go down to Arima or Port of Spain, and they reverse cycle the next day. How come a place like Sangre Grande, where you have about 30,000-40,000 people in Komoto Mantalena, same amount in Toco, we have to go carry new Arima to get a simple driver's permit? That's ridiculous. A man with a truck in Matlot had to go Port of Spain to get a truck inspected. What kind of madness is that? We're not people too? What we decided to do is to build a license office where all the services will be achieved right here in Sangre Grande. We gave you, from the Ministry of Works, traffic wardens. 2009, when the PNM government conceptualized the traffic wardens, Sangre Grande was supposed to be one of the first areas with traffic wardens, because we know the traffic nightmare we have. You know that wicked UNC coming in 2010, 2015. Sangre Grande never get a traffic warden. Now we have traffic warden in Sangre Grande. PTSC. Very soon PTSC getting new buses. Sangre Grande getting their fair share new buses for PTSC. Everything Trinidad, the rest of Trinidad have, what good for Trinidad, good for Grande. And what good for Grande, good for Trinidad. The Sangre Grande Hospital, best hospital in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't care what they say. Best hospital. But it has come of age. And Sangre Grande, we have already turned the sod for a brand new hospital in Sangre Grande. Nobody can laugh at we again. And that is why Bagilu said, Kumoto Manzana gone PNM. We fed up by everything that we in Sangre Grande now earn our place. We have the largest squatting population, and I am happy to report to you that the Land Settlement Agency have started the regularization and the development of over 1,000 lots and giving out your certificate of comfort and everything that is required so you could live in dignity. And today we walk in Babande, and when we are finished in Babande in a few months, I'm telling you, that squatting settlement that started off like that will be able to compare to any residential gated area in any part of Trinidad. This government is doing that for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I too want to listen to Faris and the Prime Minister. But I can go on here for the whole night with the amount of things that come into you in Sangre Grande from this government. But we have time for that. But what I want to ask the people of the Eastern Seaboard, Sangre Grande and Kumoto Manzalina, for years we have never gotten the sort of respect that we are getting now from this government. Finally, the Eastern Seaboard, we're going somewhere. Our lives, all the lives of all the citizens here will improve. Better jobs, better quality of life. Let us vote for Sangre Grande on December 2nd. There's only one way we could vote for Sangre Grande, is if we vote for the People's National Movement. And tonight, I am urging every single resident of the Eastern Seaboard, let us give ourselves a chance this time. Let us put all our councillors into government. We have a Prime Minister who recognizes that we have been deprived for too long. He is working with us. He's giving me the support as the Minister of Works to put in the infrastructure. He has spoken to all the other ministers. That is why community development, everybody doing their part. Ministry of Sport, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Agriculture, everybody doing their part. But if we don't want to grab the opportunities presented to us, at the end of the day, when the entire Trinidad goes forward and we remain in the back, it's only us to blame. I spoke to the Minister of Agriculture. The Minister of Agriculture is now looking at land in the Valencia area for a packing house. More than 50% of the fruits and vegetables come from the Eastern Seaboard. But we have to take it down to Port of Spain to pack and then bring it back up. When we open the gateway to Tobago from Toko, and you have a packing house right here, all the farmers in the area could take advantage of that, and our produce could be exported to all the hotels in Tobago. This government thinking about you, this Prime Minister thinking about you, this cabinet thinking about you. It's time you start to think about yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, on December 2nd, let us vote for the People's National Movement. What good for Grande, good for Trinidad, and what good for Trinidad, bound to be good for Grande.
What good for Grande, good for country. Grande, Grande. What good for Grande, good for country. Grande, Grande. What good for Grande, good for country. Team Rowley, we build the legacy. What good for country, good for Grande.
Yes, PNM people. Like the election result already made public. Sangre Grande Regional Corporation, 8 win. All councillors return. All PNM councillors in office. Look at people. of Works and Advice. I want to tell the Minister of Works, tell Kamala Roxo, and don't talk. You see, the UNC has a slogan about talk done. They would wish that we stop talking. But we must never forget, and we must always remember how the UNC raped this country. Talk could never done. We would win this local government election, and we would win the general election. Never again to the UNC and a thieving bunch of people. Ask me, I know. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why our next speaker has to be a dynamic man. You know, he continues to bring legislation in Parliament. And they continue to support the few criminals walking around this town. I wonder why. You see, every time a bill comes to Parliament, they always have an excuse why they can't support it. They are not nationalistic. They are not patriotic to Trinidad and Tobago. And so, our next speaker, who will tell you more about this, is a person who has been involved in politics since 1995. He was elected to serve the people of San Fernando West in 2015. He was appointed Attorney General on September the 9th, 2015. He has been charting the course for this country because he understands that to reduce crime, he has to give the police the tools to do the job. But the opposition don't understand that principle because they're not on the side of all lawful thinking citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. But our Attorney General, as handsome as he is, he is going to get the job done. Let us give him a resounding Grande Kumoto Manzanella welcome. Faris, our Attorney General. Faris.
Grande, what good for Grande? Good for country. Grande, Grande, what good for Grande? Good for country. Team Rowley, we building legacy. What good for country? Good for Grande. Team Rowley.
Thank you, Member of Parliament, for this beautiful constituency. I will quickly say, Assalamu alaikum. Ram Nam Satya Hai. And in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, I bring greetings to this crowd as we welcome our Prime Minister, our Chairman, our distinguished members of the head table, our beautiful audience. I want to say to Kamala, oh Lord, you're in trouble. Oh Lord, if you see people here tonight. Trinidad and Tobago, I come knowing the PM has to speak to get straight to the point. First of all, this crowd, in my time in politics, I have never seen a crowd like this in a local government election. The last time I saw a crowd like this It was in the heat of the general election of 2015, and I am astounded. People like to make up numbers, but to the viewing public and the listening public, I tell you tonight, this is a mammoth crowd. So let's get to some mammoth issues. Let's get right down to the chase. Because we're not talking to ourselves. We're not talking to the PNM alone. We are talking to a country in a local government election which has on the one hand the UNC offering itself, and on the other hand the PNM offering itself. And for all the will in the world, we must focus on the reality of our country. We say that we're getting it done. We say that we're carving a new vision for a new country. And you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, have to decide what version of Trinidad and Tobago you want born and continued for us. On the one hand, we have the UNC, who tells you, and their campaign slogan is quite simple. Kamla Prasad Bisesa puts it quite simply and capably, who the hell cares? And on the PNM side, we come to you, we tell you quickly, okay, things were rough. Okay, we lost 96% of the revenue. Okay, we paid $5 to $6 billion in back pay. Okay, we took the job, but tonight you heard Rohan Sinanan. You heard Rohan Sinanan tell you about thousands of lots in development. You heard him tell you about cutting down the cost of construction by hundreds of millions of dollars. You heard him speak about improving the lives of citizens because every road that is built means the land value next to the road goes up. Every hour you save in traffic is an hour of productivity you gain. Every hour you save on the road is an hour extra for your child to sleep before they go to school or when they come back home. And the UNC wants you to believe that this country is better off under them. And we say to you tonight, from my perspective as Attorney General, let's talk law and order. Because we're concerned about safety. Tonight when this massive crowd heads home, you will be faced with how you get home, whether you get home, how you feel while you're on your way there, and how you're going to feel tomorrow morning. So in our country, we saw a Prime Minister with the courage to take a UNC Minister of National Security, promote him as the candidate for the Commissioner of Police, watch him come and work with a PNM government, a PNM Attorney General, a PNM Head of the Security Council in the person of the Prime Minister, a PNM Minister of National Security, and that Commissioner of Police has witnessed today alone arrest for somebody who is assisting the police now in a bombing incident, a device explosive that went off today. That Commissioner of Police re-established a unit called the Special Operation Response Team, SORT, intended to replace the Special Anti-Crime Unit of Trinidad and Tobago that Anand Ramlogan and Kamla Prasad Bisesa threw out. And I ask you tonight, Trinidad and Tobago, do you feel safer with Commissioner Griffith today than you felt before? And if you feel safer with Commissioner Griffith, who put him there? And if you feel safer with that, knowing that the Commissioner is doing a good job, I ask you, do you want the government to do its part? And if you want us to do the part, let's talk two things tonight. Let's talk about how we get people to face justice. You get people to face justice by getting a commissioner of police, putting him to stop the discipline issues falling apart in the police service, getting the police out to work, getting them to arrest people on the road, bringing them before the courts. But ladies and gentlemen, what is the point of arresting people if you don't have a fighting chance to keep some of them off the streets? And you all heard about something called the right to bail. Our Constitution says that you have a right to bail, not to be deprived of bail unless there is a just cause. What does that mean? You go before a court. The magistrate who you appear before considers, are you a risk to society? The magistrate must look at the law. The parliament makes the law. The Constitution says that the parliament makes law for the peace, order, and good governance. And we, your government, went to the parliament in 2016 to save the bail law. Because the UNC and the PNM got together in 2011. We said, let us pass bail amendments. Let us restrict the right to bail for 120 days or longer for serious matters like anti-gang legislation, kidnapping for ransom, firearm activities. And for the full time that the UNC was in office, that law stood on the books of Trinidad and Tobago. That law stood there. We knew there was a risk of legal challenge on the constitutionality of it. But we as responsible people said we would put it there. 2016 comes, the law has a sunset clause, and the UNC goes to the parliament and says no to the bail legislation. They did that after Anand Ramlogan and Gerald Ramdeen went to the court to challenge the law that the UNC passed and put into place. And we have recently returned to the parliament, and we say that the parliament has the right to tell the judiciary what to consider. We put in a bail law that says that the court will always have the responsibility to consider bail, but we tell the parliament and therefore the country, if you have an automatic weapon of war, if you have a bomb, a grenade, a missile, if you are trafficking in firearms, you ought to be one of those people who has to explain yourself to the court to show why you should get bail. The UNC has come to us to say they want to make sure that only if a man gets catched twice doing that, he should be denied bail. Let me explain that to you. The UNC says to Trinidad and Tobago, don't worry, he's a good boy. You catch him with an automatic firearm that could shoot 50 bullets in seconds, murder a whole crowd of people. You catch him with a bomb or a grenade, let him go. Let him come back the next time he get catch, and then we go treat with him. Trinidad and Tobago, I ask you tonight, do you consider that people with weapons of war should be walking free in this country? Do you agree with Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Senior Counsel, that people should have two chances to explain themselves? Well, your leader of the opposition did not even bother to come to Parliament on Wednesday to turn up to face the music. And therefore, we paused the bill so that we will allow her to collect herself, sober up herself, turn up in the Parliament and face the music. And I have raised that to you because that's an issue in local government. In local government, our councillors will be equipped with municipal police. 100 per corporation, per municipality, 1,400 policemen on the streets. If you choose Kamla Prasad Bisesa, your point is bail for criminals, no to tax law, no to explain your wealth, no to anti-gang law, and yes to criminality. And if you choose the PNM, you are saying to Trinidad and Tobago, let law enforcement do its job, protected by the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. How do you ask a policeman to be full of moral righteousness and to know that his country is standing behind him if you can't equip him with the laws to do his job? And while we're on that point, what is the point of wasting the police time? You see, you can't get justice if you're busy wasting time. You have in the magistrate's court the responsibility to do 95% of the laws in Trinidad. 95% of justice is in the magistrate's court. You have 43 magistrates sitting in 12 courts, dealing with 146,000 cases a year, and they're busy. How do they treat with a rape victim? How do they treat with a firearm matter? How do they treat with fraud? If they're busy spending all the time dealing with 104,000 motor vehicle cases. Common sense tells you, put Rohan Sinanan to do the job. Because between Rohan Sinanan, Faris Alrawi, Keith Rowley, and the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago, we digitized the licensing division. We amended the laws to deal with road traffic. And as today the Cabinet passed the final electronic payment methods, we will take out 104,000 cases from the court. 146 minus 104,000 cases, 146,000 minus 104,000 leaves you with 42,000 cases. If you take out the preliminary inquiries from that, you take out another 26,000 cases. That means no 20 years in the magistrate's court waiting for the Piaco Airport inquiry to finish to decide if a case should go to the High Court. You're left with 16,000 cases. 8,000 of those cases are for possession of marijuana. 8,000 of those cases are spent being analyzed by the forensics department to see if it's a plant-like substance. Not everybody lucky, like some people, to have marijuana found in the premises for it to be a case that disappears. Not everybody lucky like that. And we say to Trinidad and Tobago, and this should matter to you, that we propose to remove marijuana as a dangerous drug. If you have possession, we say if you have under 30 grams, don't worry with that, Mr. Policeman. Let me tell you what 30 grams is. 30 grams is 3 Du Maurier packs full of marijuana. That's what 30 grams is. Why did we choose that number? We chose that number because if you take 8,000 cases away, you free up 86% of the forensic time. The rape victim finds dignity because the magistrate could deal with that matter. The forensics could analyze the DNA. Today we saw the Trinidad and Tobago police arrest someone for an alleged rape and buggery of a child. Let me repeat that. Today we saw the Trinidad and Tobago police arrest someone for an alleged rape and buggery of a child who was supposedly found bound. If we leave marijuana in the system, If we leave motor vehicle and road traffic in the system, if we leave preliminary inquiries in the system, that case will take 20 years to get done. What is the justice for the victim or even the accused? Suppose the accused was framed. What is the justice to Trinidad and Tobago in keeping the system the way it is? I ask you to understand that when you vote for local government change and local government reform, you are dealing with a political party called the PNM that is coming to you with real ideas, with real solutions, with real consequences. And the consequences is to the hearts and minds and souls of the people of this country. This is not a matter of making Kamala happy so weed could be smoked. This is not a matter of encouraging slackness. This is a matter of real justice on time. And we say to you, I can give account tonight as Attorney General. I run 3 ministries: Attorney General, Legal Affairs, and I inherited the Ministry of Justice and absorbed them. Anand Ram Logan, Ministers of Justice and Ministers of Legal Affairs in the UNC, ran those ministries for $4.1 billion. I have run all 3 of them for $1 billion. 4 to 1. Where you can actually see a plan. And part of that plan includes following the money. And we follow the money by digitizing the society, cleaning up the registry, making sure the courts have the information, equipping the police with the information in the right position. And that is why we have people before the courts. Be they at licensing division, in the army, in the police, or be they past members of parliament or sitting senators who had to resign. That is causing justice on the basis of following the money. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very conscious of time, and I know the Prime Minister has to speak. So I will put it in conclusion this way. Sangre, Grande, and Trinidad and Tobago. Do you want, who the hell cares? Do you want Cambridge Analytica never happened? Do you know about somebody called Rove? Rove is an American strategist. The man's name is a fella called, the Prime Minister introduced me to this. The man's name is called Karl Rove, R-O-V-E. Karl Rove, strategy number 3, says, accuse your opponent of your own weaknesses, or just simply tell the opposite of what is true. Let me tell you what Karl Rove UNC style is. They know Rohan Sinanan is an honest man, so they say he thief a bridge. They know Rohan Sinanan is an honest man, so they say he's so stupid, he take a river, pass it through his land, right down the middle, to devalue the land, to take all the flood water so he can make money. They say Keith Rowley guilty of the worst sins under God's earth. Well, we know all of that is lie, because Dr. Rowley put the money in his pocket from defamation. First leader of the opposition in the Commonwealth to be thrown out by a government on the basis of lies. They bring Vanilla Allen Toppin to tell the most disgusting lies that a parliament has ever heard. And what I warn you about, ladies and gentlemen, the UNC strategy to the voting public is quite simple. If you're honest, say you're a thief. If you're hardworking, say you're lazy. If you're a decent man, say you're a crook. If you're honest with your wife, say you're horning. And what the UNC says is that Rodney Charles is good looking. Anand Ram Logan was the best Attorney General they ever had. That is what the UNC puts out on offer. And if you believe Rodney Charles is a good-looking man, God bless you. They have a cure for cataract. It's called surgery. And if you believe Anand Ram Logan was an honest man, that's up to you. Some people may say otherwise. But what I can tell you, your 8 councillors, your chairman, your political leader, your prime minister, your minister of works, and Sangre Grande, all of you as Trinidad and Tobago know, the PNM is the choice for this country. On December 2nd, I ask you to do what you have to do. Wake up early in the morning. Say your prayers. Put God in your thoughts. Understand that you don't win an election by staying home. Every man and woman pick 10 people extra and take them to the polls. Make sure your vote is cast. Return in an orderly fashion and descend in your numbers to celebrate the victory that the PNM will bring, because we know that the PNM shall prevail. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
What good for Grande, good for country. Grande, Grande. What good for Grande, good for country. Grande, Grande. What good for Grande, good for country. Team Rowley, we building legacy. What good for country.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember when we started, I said Sangre Grande is a love place. Now, I have standing next beside me a love man. He wants to speak to his loving wife.
Brenda, come, like you spoke in this thing.
So,
no, I mean, at this point in time, we really want to bring on the candidates, but I have to recognize my beautiful wife. I was trying to get a number. I was trying to get Nayan to get a number for the lady sitting next to her. Then I recognized it's my wife. Okay. So, thanks for coming. Thanks for all this stuff. I don't think many people understand what spouses of politicians goes through. And if they sit in the shoes of a spouse of a politician's wife, then they will recognize you don't ever want to get married to a politician.
Well, I would like to say hello to my husband, who is at home looking on. So good night to you, my husband.
Anyhow,
ladies and gentlemen, we are at a serious part this evening. Just as the Toko Sangre Grande constituency was able to bring out the largest contingent of supporters at our national convention 2 weeks ago, so too we will bring out the largest percentage of voters on December the 2nd. Ladies and gentlemen, PNM people, the cocktail book. I now call on our local campaign manager, and he will stand here with our general campaign manager, Mr. Rohan Sinanan, to assist in introducing our winning team, councillors, all standard bearers for this beautiful party of ours, the People's National Movement. Ladies and gentlemen, over to the 2 campaign managers, local and general.
Come in there. Let's give Indar Parashram, the party's field officer, a round of applause. Indar have been working in Sangre Grande and he's doing a fantastic job for the party. So let us first bring on stage the chairman of the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation, Mr. Martin Terry Rondon for Toco East, Valencia.
Let's bring on the candidate for Sangre Grande, Northwest, Miss Elizabeth Wharton.
Mr. Neil Joseph, Sangre Grande South.
Simon Gail Joseph, Valencia West.
Mr. Nigel Safe, Manzalena Fish and Pond.
Paul Mongolas, Sangre Grande Northwest. Ravi Lakan, Vega de Robuch.
Ladies and gentlemen, and the man who is going to put tears in Kamala eyes on December 2nd, Mr. Rajkumar Baghelu. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the team that's going to take all 8 in the Sangre Grande Corporation. Let's give them a big round of applause.
So never stop believing. We getting it done. A new country we building. This country first we choosing, and every day we proving. We getting it done. They only mama dying. We don't know they was thieving. They cannot tell me nothing. Red is how we rolling. It's PNM we voting. We doing it right. We doing it right. We getting it done. One good for country, good for party. Team Rowley, we building legacy. So when you're voting, know that you're building.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to where the air is rare. Members of the PNM family, ladies and gentlemen, I could easily say to you that our next speaker needs no introduction. But to do so would be to do an injustice to a man who has helped the PNM navigate some of the most difficult and treacherous waters we have encountered as a party. Since 2010, he has held the reign of this great institution and has led us from one victory to the next. He has stood up against the vilest of accusations, the most unfounded allegations, and through it all, he has emerged stronger, a better leader, and a more committed political leader with a vision for a new society, the new gateway for all of us in the northeastern area of Trinidad. He is the leader of Team PNM. He is the architect of this team. He is guide, he is mentor and coach for all of us. He is a statesman who is a champion of democracy. He hates corruption with a passion. He believes in country first over the past 4 years, he has healed this nation, which was plagued by corruption and chaos. This great man, this handsome man, this loving man of the PNM, this man who cares for all the people all the time, this man who will bring us to victory in the local government election of December the 2nd. This man, he is our political leader and the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And we lovingly call him Doctor because we respect him. His name is Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley.
What good for Grande, good for country. Grande, Grande, what good for Grande, good for country. Grande, Grande. We getting it done. We getting it done. We getting it done. We getting it done.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sangre Grande in the house. What a gathering of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Deputy Political Leader of the PNM, Mrs. Joan Newell Williams, responsible for party and elections. On the stage with me tonight, two of my cabinet colleagues, the Member of Parliament for San Fernando West, the Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Faris Al-Rawi, the Works and Transport Minister from Sangre Grande, Senator Rohan Sinanan, your very own representative during our meeting tonight, Mrs. Glenda Jennings-Smith, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, and the newest, most vigorous missionary in the PNM's lineup, the very experienced and welcome, Rajkumar Bagalu from Kumuto, Tamana. My cabinet colleagues, our standard bearers whom you just met, and all of you here who have come from near and far, but mainly from Sangre Grande and environs, coming to this PNM's big tent, this tent that is open to all the people of Trinidad and Tobago, because our party fundamental document says we're not a party in the ordinary sense of the word, but we're rather a rally for all, cutting across race, color, creed, and class. And if they don't believe us, come and see us in Sangre Grande tonight here in this local government election. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be the leader of a party where my colleagues could so hold the fort all the way that tonight they've just given me 10 minutes to speak to you. They've taken up all the time and it's almost your bedtime. So all I can say to you is that remember I was in front of a crowd like this in September 2015, a Thursday night in the rain. And I said to you that if you put the PNM in government, good times or bad, whatever the country was going through, during this period of stewardship of the government of Trinidad and Tobago, under a PNM leadership, we will make the eastern counties a priority in Trinidad and Tobago. And you listen to us, and you put us in government with your vote. And tonight you got a record from Minister Sinanan as to the development projects that are underway in this part of the country. Because I want the rest of the country to understand that there's no way we could develop this country fully to our fullest potential, to get the kind of growth that we're looking for, and to give opportunities to everybody in this country without developing the half of the country that exists between Matlot and Toko and all the way to Moruga on the eastern half of the country. Half of the country, 5% of the country's economy is in the eastern half of Trinidad. You are the poorest of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. In every statistical analysis, you come out at the bottom. And I say to you, as I said to you in 2015, this is not going to go on forever. And we have begun to change it. We have begun to change it. And the commitment is this: that every child born anywhere in this country must have an equal opportunity to develop to the best of his or her potential. Every citizen must lay a claim to what this country has to offer. The oil and gas that we live off in this country belong to every one of us. So when I go up on the north coast and I'm on my way to Matlot, and there's this little village in a place called Montevideo, and a man comes down off the bank into the roadway and he says to me, "Why you all up here? You all have forgotten us." That man is a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, and I have not forgotten you. And the only way those people from Matlot, from Kumana, from Toko, from Rampanalgas, from Sangre Grande, from Kumuto, from Tamana, from Manzanilla could be an integral part of Trinidad and Tobago, the first thing that has to be done is that this country has to invest in infrastructure to give them access to the rest of the country. And that's why we're building roads. And next to us is Tobago with its own economy and its own potential, and we are going to link Toko to Tobago. And of course, the healthcare delivery that we get in Port of Spain and in San Fernando and in Cuba, you have a claim on that here too in Sangre Grande, and that is why we are building a new hospital here. And that is why at local government, when we do the reform as we will do as sure as night follow day, giving you the authority to look after your own affairs within your own corporation's border, you too will be able to improve yourself, and the citizens of this part of the country will become what they want to be on their own resources, collecting and keeping your taxes, keeping your councillors in check, and making sure that you get value for money. Ladies and gentlemen, the work is underway. After 4 years, we can point to you what is going on. Imagine all the money we spend in this country, all the we do in this country. You are hearing tonight for the first time that there will be a licensing office in Sangre Grande. You are knowing for the first time that there's a highway that will eventually allow you to drive from here to Port of Spain without stopping at a traffic light. And ladies and gentlemen, you would know even though you live this far away from Mount Hope and from Port of Spain General, that if you get sick in Sangre Grande, that the hospital is equivalent to any service anywhere in the country. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what opportunity is about. Because you too have a claim on whatever this country has to offer. So tonight, I came here to this closing ceremony, I call it, because this is a ceremony. If, they say if you try again. So I wouldn't hold it against Kamala for trying again. But you lost once, you lost twice, you lost 3 times, you lost 4 times, you lost 5 times, you lost 6 times, you lost 7 times, you lost 8 times, you just lost 9 times, and you're going to lose again 10 times on Monday. But that is for them to deal with. That is for them to deal with. We want to make sure that you take responsibility for who is going to run your affairs in Sangre Grande. And that is the power of the ballot. Doesn't matter what we say on this platform or any platform. It is you, the people, who will decide who you will put in charge of your affairs. So let me show you something there tonight. I came here and I saw these physical expressions. I saw these physical expressions of what $1 million look like and what $2 million look like. And you see on this stage here, let me explain to you all what goes on in this country, what used to go on in this country. That Rohan Sinanan there, is he an honest man? Do you think he's an honest man? One day I was home in my office and he called me to tell me that there was somebody, a citizen, who was doing business with the state and who was owed substantial money by the state, and a minister of government had the check in his possession, would not let the man get his check, and is telling the man that the man must pay him a certain amount of money or he's not going to get the check. The man decided to wait him out to see if sanity will return, and then the man realized that the check is not going to come. And he said to the man, if you bring $2 million, if you bring $2 million by Tuesday, you will get the money. He was giving the man a discount because he was asking the man for $3 million. But then he told the man, if by Tuesday you bring $2 million, you will get the check. The man went and got the $2 million. And on his way to the minister's office, the man stopped by Rohan Sinanan to show him that he was taking $2 million for a minister of government. He called me and told me what was going on. I said, tell the man to go and give it to him as normal, and then go straight to the police station and tell the police that this minister has $2 million in cash in his office. And say, if I do that, I'm going to get no more work. That is a physical expression of $100 bills to the value of $2 million. That other pile is $10 million. Let me give you a story of $120 million. There was a valuation done on a piece of land in Cuba for the HDC. Highest part of that, the highest value that was placed on that land was $59 million. The HDC decided to buy the land from the man. The man got to ask for $200 million for the land. And even though there was a valuation, highest of it being 50-odd million, under the last government, the land was bought for $180 million. Understand that? That is $130 million more than what you could have paid. Ladies and gentlemen, that big box there, officer, could you just stand back there so the public could see? pile up $100 bills to the tune of $100 million, that is the pile of $100 bills that you will get. $100 million. And on one piece of land, in one transaction at the HDC, those who were running the HDC at the Ministry of Housing paid that pile of money and more than that one. Those two yellow boxes there, they pay more than that. Excess for a little piece of land in Cuba. And the name of the project is called Eden Garden. Understand that? But let me tell you worse than that. Let me tell you worse than that, and I want you all to pay attention, because I don't know how many of you ever saw $100,000 in cash. Far less $1 million in cash. Far less $10 million in cash. Tonight we are showing you the size of it. Not just a number, the physical size of it. Because a carry box could hold $1 million in cash. So in that pile over there, you have 100 carry boxes. But let me tell you what goes on, or what used to go on in this country. We were about to extend the highway from Golconda, where it had reached the point 14, when the government changed. So we had to award a contract for it to continue. They went out to tender just before the election, but no award was made. Election come, and we got surprised, and the election was lost mid-term. A contractor who was in the bid process was selected to build the highway from Golconda to point 14. That highway turned out to be the largest contract ever issued in Trinidad and Tobago by the government of Trinidad and Tobago. $7,000 million worth of it. One contractor. But that contractor, before he got that contract, flew by private jet all the way to South Africa, where the Minister of Works was present in South Africa, and there was a meeting between the contractor and the Minister of Works. I've been asking Kamala Prasad Bisesa now, since that happened, to know what was the basis for and the reason for that meeting between a Minister of Government of Trinidad and Tobago and that contractor. What was the basis? She has never answered. She has never answered. But the contract was awarded. The contract was awarded. And the contractor got into trouble over in the contract. Halfway through the life of the contractor, which was a Brazilian contractor, went bankrupt and could not continue the project in Trinidad and Tobago. But that bankruptcy, or any possibility of that bankruptcy, was protected by a contract clause that said, if the contractor goes bankrupt and cannot continue because of the bankruptcy, of course, then the clause in the contract was there to allow the government to call the bonds, which was the insurance, and take the bond money as compensation. That happened before the last general election. The UNC made no attempt to invoke that clause and collect the money from the bonds that the contractor had put up. When we came into office, we met that situation in place. We decided to call the bonds and to take the money, to discover that the last day of office of the UNC, which was the Friday before the election on Monday, the last Friday before the election, the UNC took out the clause from the contract that protected the taxpayers' money, and which said that if the contractor went bankrupt, the people of Trinidad and Tobago could get their money back. The UNC took out the clause to allow the contractor to go away with $921 million. Ladies and gentlemen, if that box is $100 million of $100 bills, that gift that the UNC gave to that contractor OS by taking out the clause is 9 of those and more. 920. So it's 9 of that plus 20 of these carry boxes if you see it in the context of $100 bills. This government had to go to court and to fight that and to fight it and to fight it. And while we were fighting it, Kamala Persad-Bissessar was up and down this country trying to tell you that my government was so incompetent and we were the worst because she knew exactly what we were doing. She wanted to break our spirit. She wanted to damage our confidence. But we are of the PNM and we have the confidence of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And led by Minister Stuart Young, an experienced corporate lawyer, we got good legal advice, sound legal advice, and good court presence, and we went to court and we won the matter against the contractor. And then we got back to us $921 million. And what did we do with $921 million? Under the UNC, what do they do with $921 million? They take out a contract to ask the contractor to go away with the money. But under the PNM, what do we do with $921 million? We came back here and we issued a number of contracts to local contractors, and that money is now being used to build the highway on the way to Point 14. Would you believe that? Would you believe that? So this is what, just when you go home and you lie down on your bed, just imagine 9 of those. You need an 18-wheeler truck to carry that. That is what the UNC had given to the OS. And you all are lucky that you voted PNM in 2015 because the money had gone already. Because the minute they took the clause out of the contract, they had given $921 million to a contractor to go with it. And then they have the gall to come here in an election campaign, and every time they take a drink that go to the head, Kamala Persad-Bissessar talks about this government which I lead as a corrupt government. Well, I'm saying tonight to all the UNC supporters, all of you who supporting Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the cabal, all of you know this, and you're supporting her, and you are dangerous to Trinidad and Tobago. It's not like you don't know. I've been saying this now for 2 years, in fact more than 2 years. It is for 5 years I've been saying this. Have you ever heard a response from Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar about this? She knows all about Rohan and his land. She knows that she's going on platform with deed, and she's going with this. And did you ever hear her respond to the allegation? And in fact, it's not an allegation. It's a statement of fact. She must tell us that she does not know and did not know that her government took out that clause from that contract, which had the effect of giving Brazilian contractors to share among all of them. Because if you believe that is love, they love the contractor and wanted to give the contractor $900 million just so. And if you don't believe that all who were lucky, all who are, Bible says, heavy laden, you have to ask yourself, where was that money going? We told you about Triup Overpass. That lady is so crazy. You know, she take a picture of Triup Overpass from here in Grande and showing you the overpass. But the reason why she's showing you the overpass is because she's showing you where Rohan has land. And since they're building overpass there, Rohan going to get some money for the land. And that is Rohan corruption. And that is PNM corruption. Because she's pretending not to know the meaning of the word corruption. If the government take your land, government have to pay you for your land. That is not corruption. That is the law. And that is the same overpass where the footprint was the same footprint going on the same piece of land that they were awarding the contract on in 2015. Because there's no other land at Currap Junction to build the overpass on. It's right there. But she comes here with a picture of it and a stupid story like that because she believes that because you are in the furthest part in the east in this country, that you're stupid. But you have proven to her that you're not stupid because on election day, you have voted solidly for the People's National Movement. But people, look how ridiculous it is. If she is going to engage the subject of the Currap overpass, I would think she will engage it by explaining to you who was going to get the $300 million extra on the contract. Because she was going to award it for $540 million. We have it almost complete because the contract under us after tender, competitive tender, is $221 million. If she wants to talk Currap interchange, don't come here with nonsense about Rohan land. Come and tell us who in the cabal was going to get that $300 million. And you, the people tonight in Sangre Grande, if you want to know what $300 million look like, let's show them big boxes there. You understand? And how many houses in this country you can hide that? That is why they have to dig a hole in the ground and put it in plastic barrel all over Trinidad. You understand? That is what was going on. That is what was going on. We told you and we got your sanction to upgrade the infrastructure here. We are building an improved road from Valencia to Toko Road Junction right now. As I speak to you now, there are 8 contractors on that job doing what you gave us a mandate to do, which is to upgrade the road. We awarded those 8 contracts for $72 million. $72 million. You have 8 contractors, local contractors, upgrading the road from Valencia Junction out to the junction with the Toko Road. $72 million worth. 172, sorry. So let's say roughly 2 boxes. 2 boxes. Right? 100 million and another 72 million. Let's say round it off. That is what we do with the money we have. But let me tell you the worst of it. Let me tell you the worst of it. Under the last government, under Kamla Prasad Biseswar S, the last time the PNM spent money paying lawyers outside the government service for work, legal work in the AG office, in 2010, it was $20 million in that line item. I want you all to listen to me very carefully. In the last year of the Manning government, 2010, it cost the state $20 million to pay lawyers who were not the government lawyers in the AG office. These are external lawyers, like senior counsel and so, who they hire for special case. The following year, which is the first year under the UNC, they brought that to just over $100 million. And the reason was that we had a commission of inquiry, and that caused more lawyers to have been engaged, and therefore they had this increase. What we warned about is what took place. By the time they finished the 5-year term, in total money that they put in lawyers' pockets, 14 of that big box, $1.4 billion of taxpayers' money was paid to a small handful of lawyers by the UNC in this country. That is 14 of those that big box there, if you see it in the context of $100 bills. I want you to ask yourself, who got that money? What did they get for it? And how could that have happened? That could only have happened if there were people who forgot the public interest, didn't care about the public value, and gave an enrichment to a select few. And you will understand why there are so many lawyers in this country who are so anti-PNM and so anti this government, but we don't care about that. We will tell you how they thief your money. $1.4 billion of your money. No other profession in this country ever got that largest. Doctors never got it. Nurses never got it. Teachers never got it. Priests never got it. Highwaymen never got it. Lawyers. Lawyers. 1.4 billion. And then always want to come and tell us how to run the country. Set up blasted scamps, most of them. That profession used to be an honorable profession. Today, it is populated by a large amount of people without an iota of commitment to this country. Because you know what 1.4 billion could have done here in Sangre Grande? You know what 1 billion could have done to the port and the road that we're trying to build? You know what 1 billion could have done for all the young people in this area who would have got opportunities if we developed the area? No, not available. They got it in a 5-year period. And I tell you, had you not put them out of office, they would have continued with that rampage, and God alone knows what the final 10-year figure would have been. That's what it is. Look at that box. That box worth $100 million. What does $100 million do in the HDC? In the Housing Development Corporation, building affordable houses. That is approximately 150 houses. Picture 150 families being put in HDC houses from wherever they're suffering now. That's only one box. One box. But they gave OAS 9 boxes to go. You understand what corruption does to a country? You understand? I am not here talking about filling your wallet with money, you know. I am not talking about filling a briefcase with money, you know. I'm talking about a truckload. That's what I'm talking about. And that is why when I had that presentation to you about the billions that have been lost from the money we had in the bank with nothing to show for it, you had to be thieving on this scale to have emptied that account and have nothing to show. You understand? Because they were not raiding this country in small raindrops. They were raiding us in floods. And then they come in here and talking about Rohan Tifa Bridge. And they come in here and talking about Rohan and Rohan and Rohan. If they want to call names, I could whistle all them names. But leave them to the police. Because I told you all before, all of those who believe that they've got away with this, the wheels of justice turn very slowly, but they do turn. They do turn. And there's going to be a reckoning and retribution, if not for all of them, at least for some of them at the appropriate time. We in the government, there's a lot that we know that we cannot say. Because the minute we say it to you, they jump and play victim. And the lawyer friends start saying that you're affecting the courthouse and interfering with procedures. So we have to keep very quiet and wait for the criminal law to take its course. But let them not for 1 minute believe that we don't know them. Imagine our police, men and women, put their lives on the line night and day against a very resolute criminal element in this country. And when the police goes out there with a 10-shooter or a 15-shooter handgun or worse, you going and meeting these people out there with assault weapons, AR-15s and Bushmasters. And when you meet one of them with 8 of those, and 2 days later, one more have 5, and we go to the parliament to say that if you have made a decision to arm yourself with that dangerous weapon or a hand grenade or a bomb, that you should be inside the jail. The UNC doesn't come to the parliament. But they came to the parliament to pass Section 34 though. They were busy in the parliament. They were all present in the parliament when they came and passed a law to use the parliament to create an opening for people to evade the court. So 15 years now, you're in the courthouse in preliminary inquiry, you can't get to the courthouse. They're in the parliament for that. We go to the parliament to pass anti-gang legislation. They're not there for that. They're not voting for that. All over this country, people are gambling left, right, and center, threatening the country's economy with money laundering, encouraging criminal conduct, and wasting our money in a very ridiculous pastime. And it's the only country in the world where there's gambling and there's no regulation of gaming and gambling. And the UNC is saying they're not interested in that. Not interested in that. But of course, we don't have a good boat to go to Tobago. So we go to Australia, get their help to borrow money to buy 2 boats for the ferry service to Tobago. They're going to the Australian opposition to try to encourage them to put the government in trouble, making stupid allegations against the Australian government because the Australian government helped us to buy 2 boats. And you want to tell me that these people are not dangerous? Huh? We go to Parliament to say that young girls shouldn't be forced into marriage at age 12 and 13 and 14. We said that they should be allowed to go to school. We say in this modern age, doesn't matter what happened before in the prehistoric time, but in this modern age, given the kinds of things that we have seen and that we know, and the treaties we have signed on to, that girls must be of a certain age of maturity before. Kamala goes and brings in 3 men who specialize in marriage for young girls and come to the parliament and argue why girls underage girls should get married to hardback old men. That is their record. And they could jump high, they could jump low. That is their record. Everything we carry to the parliament is to oppose. Is to oppose. Is to oppose. And then they want to bring candidates to ask you to vote for their candidates so that the candidates could have executive authority to do what they are accustomed doing. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been the worst of times. It is the best of times. Things have to change. And you here in Grande, you started to change it. You started to change it. We met an arrangement to refurbish the parliament for $800 million. We took it over. I took over the committee myself as Prime Minister, put a committee in place. And we broke up the work into 17 packages. And we have almost finished the work for just over $440 million. Ladies and gentlemen, that is 4 of those boxes less. Big boxes, 4 less. 4 less. And we're going to get the parliament finished and useful. And while all this was going on, they know now how everything in the country is bad. They know every drain that is clogged. They know every drain that should be cleaned. They know every school that should be built. They know everything about everything, but they left everything to be done by the People's National Movement. But we are not complaining. Our back is broad. Our shoulder is strong. Our supporters are resolute in that they want Trinidad and Tobago to be the best that we can be. You, the adults, you want the best for your family, for your neighbors, for your children and your grandchildren. You know that hard times don't last forever. You know that being neglected for a long time doesn't mean that you're going to be neglected forever, because the PNM has come to your aid and your discovery. You know that when we are in government, if the country has a loaf as it does have, you will not only get crumbs. You might get a small slice, but you are going to get a slice. By God, you'll get that. Ladies and gentlemen, the election campaign is over. During this campaign, we told you a lot about a lot of things concerning your business. Most of the ministers came and gave you a discourse as to what is happening in their portfolio. We understand and acknowledge the challenges. We never promised you a rose garden. We never promised you a life without pain. We never promised you a life without hope. What we promised you was a vision where there was hope and there is expectation. We promise you that we will help you carry the burden, and we look towards a brighter future, and that is what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago today. It might not be our brightest day, but we look forward to a bright dawn, because dawn comes after the UNC. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your support. I thank you for your resolve. I thank you for being here in your thousands tonight, signaling that you know what is right, you know what is wrong, you know what is good, and you know what is yours. Your presence here tonight must send a powerful signal across Trinidad and Tobago that the people of this country see hope and a good future in the PNM and our policies. So thank you for your support for our candidates. Thank you for your support for the PNM. Come out on Monday. Bring out everybody. Monday is election day. Monday we vote in PNM. And on Monday night, I want to hear you from Sangre Grande shouting all the way to Toko, all the way to Kumuto, all the way to Valley House. And we say, great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. And we shall prevail.
In the fires of hope and prayer. Together as one, there is no load we cannot bear.
How you going? You good? Good. Is anybody from Grande? Is anybody from Grande? What good for Grande? Good for country. Good for Grande. Grande, put your two hands in the air. Let's go. Show me your flag, Sangre Grande. Hey, come again, everybody. Hey, for me, we're good for Grande, good for country, good for Grande, good for country. Oh, na. One time shot. Let me go. Hey, listen, no.
We're getting it done in the fires of hope and prayer. Together as one. There is no load we cannot bear.
No, come!
And I see the light at the end of the rainbow. I see the light, blue skies.
So when you're voting, know that you're building a strong foundation for this great nation. This is a nation of many races. So when you're voting, know that you're building a strong foundation for this great nation. as a faith and pray.
We get to the
Sing together as one. There is no load we cannot bear. Put your hands in the air. I see the light at the end of the rainbow, and I see the bright blue skies. On December 2nd, make no mistake, Grande going PNM. All the income class with it. And we will always be there.
PNM people, we have a presentation to make to our Honorable Prime Minister. So I would call on the chairman of the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation to make his presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure to be with you in Sangre Grande this evening as we prepare for our closing rally on Saturday and head to the polls on Monday. Let's continue with the same intensity as we have displayed here this evening. Let us do all that is necessary to ensure that everyone we know who is eligible to vote goes out and do their civic duty on Monday the 2nd of December, and in so doing, ensure victory again for the People's National Movement. And as you make your way home, I pray traveling mercies on all of us. Reach home safely and let us gather again on Monday